Hey, welcome back to another edition of the Shoe and Show. I'm one of your hosts, Matt Priest. I'm very excited because this is the final episode in our Shoe and Leadership series powered by Ortholite. And this is a series where we're sitting down with top leaders in the industry. We're talking about their philosophies and leadership, how they got in the shoe industry, kind of how they build culture and how they drive change within their organizations and within our industry. You can go to shoeleaders.com and check out all of our amazing episodes. We've had a blast running the series this year. Before we get started, I want to thank Ortholite because they've been a proud sponsor of this series. We came up with this idea earlier this year, and they've been wonderful to work with. Ortholite is a trusted partner to over 550 leading footwear brands, and they continue to elevate comfort and performance across the industry. So again, we want to thank them. Now, Sandy, as we close out this series, we wanted to bring in someone who is a leader in their own right, but also is a fresh new leader to the industry who has a long runway to be even that more impactful for us going forward. So who is on Shoe and Show this week?
Oh, I'm really excited about this one because she is one of my favorite people in the industry. She is the future of our industry and really just a force. Our guest today is Natalie White, the founder of Moolah Kicks. Welcome, Natalie. We're really thrilled to have you today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We start out by asking our guests a little bit about their shoe story. How did you enter the footwear market? What's your journey like? Tell us a little bit about your launch into our market.
So for those who don't know, I'm the founder of Moolah Kicks, and we are the brand building performance footwear by and for female basketball players. And I got my start in the shoe industry when I was a senior at Boston College and came across an ad that had 4 of the top WNBA players holding out and promoting sneakers named after someone else. And I'm sure to you guys and all of those listeners of this podcast, you all probably know much better than I did at the time that the female foot form and the male foot form are different, and you can't just have women wearing downsized versions of men's product and expect the same performance. And so when I saw this ad, what struck me was the social implication of having the top 4 players in the world promote names and people that weren't them. And then taking that one step further, there's a performance implication as well, because the female foot form and the male foot form are different. And so I started Moolah to answer that 1-2 punch and be the performance brand built by and for female ballers, where every single thing we do is to serve the women's basketball community and elevate performance, starting with footwear.
I love that, Natalie, because you found this white space, a need that was out there. And you're right. Like, there are these iconic players in our industry who have been the driving force for basketball footwear forever. They're all on the men's side. And this has been a kind of a critique of men's basketball shoes and women's basketball shoes forever. And so you saw that white space and you stepped in and you met that need. But it seems like the industry, like, your timing couldn't be more impeccable, because the WNBA, women's basketball in particular, I have 3 daughters. My youngest daughter plays basketball. It's just off the charts. The interest is through the roof. And I saw you post on LinkedIn, your sales this year are up 700%. Talk to us just about how crazy life has been and how you've been able to kind of keep this momentum and really take advantage of really a historic time for women's basketball.
Timing is everything, Matt, right? I mean, to start something, you have to have an amazing product, an amazing story. You have to be incredibly lucky. And we're very grateful to be the third, because timing is something that you just, you have to pray for. And so when Moolah was founded, the national championship game for women's college had between 3 and 4 million viewers. That's when Moolah was started. And that same game last year peaked 27 million.
Wow.
In 5 years. And so to think about what you just said, the growth in viewership and awareness and attention that women's basketball is getting, I mean, it's unbelievable just to see the clip at which the sport has grown. And so to be able to serve the community that is growing every single year is we just feel lucky to be able to do more of what we love.
That's awesome. I mean, the buzz around your brand and the buzz around the sport is amazing right now. And I know you've had a couple of really tremendous wins. Do you have one in particular that you're like, this really put us on the map? I know you've shared a couple of stories, but I'd love to hear one more time and let some of our listeners in on it too.
Of course. Well, recently we were featured in a New York Times article for a little bit of a debacle that has been going on between the WNBA, our player Courtney Williams, and showing our logos. And so what Matt commented on, the 700% increase in sales, came on the heels of all of this attention that we've been getting when this has been brought to light. So essentially what the article covers is that we have been on the WNBA floor sponsoring Courtney Williams. She's an all-star point guard for the Minnesota Lynx, and we've been sponsoring her since 2023. This past year, in 2025, she started receiving fines from the W for wearing Moolah. We were never alerted of the fines. It was given straight to her, so we covered them on her behalf. And the issue has kind of escalated because we are not an approved partner of the league. We are an approved sponsor of Courtney, but you need to have a partnership with both the league and the player. And the number that they want for a league partnership is quite prohibitive to the Moolah business. And it's decided on a one-to-one basis because that's just how it's written in the old WNBA, the formation documents. It's that every brand gets an individualized deal. So we are working actively with the W to try to find a resolution, but I have to say it's just been amazing. I mean, I think we've had comments and an outpour of responses saying, Moolah, you guys sponsored my team in 2021 when we had nothing. You came to the Boys and Girls Club and gave shoes and shirts, and all of these people coming out in support of us. And I think Moolah, we are a community brand to elevate women's basketball, and we've been working 100 hours a week with a tight team to do what we believe in. And at times, you wonder when you're a small fish in a big pond, like, is anyone out there? Is anyone listening? And so when this article hit, the response and wave of momentum that we got of people coming out and thanking us and saying exactly what you said, Matt, this is the real deal. They've been here since before we were big. I think that is what means the world, and that's kind of what's given us this momentum. And beside that, the product, we've gotten so much better every single season. So our performance product is the best it's ever been.
I feel like that's a GoFundMe. There's something in there where you're going to raise some money big time to become a partner of the WNBA. That you have such viral momentum and excitement. You have so many loyal fans and so many local, groups and clubs and everything that I'm confident that you're going to raise that money and become a partner. So I'm excited to see that. But I do have a quick question about what you shared before about the product and not just, I think they say shrink it and pink it or something like that when they're talking about making athletic shoes to fit women. Tell us a little bit about your product development, your technology, your innovation.
Of course, the inside of all of our sneakers is formed specifically for the female foot form. That's something this audience, is going to be comfortable with. But essentially, we have a last that combines the female foot form with a basketball shape. And so what it delivers to our customers is a benefit of having no break-in. The shoes are ready right out of the box. And that's a comfort and experience that girls haven't had before. And we also have so many reports of girls saying, my knees don't hurt after I play. This fixed my shin splints and my back doesn't. I mean, we get incredible feedback just saying how much wearing the proper fitting equipment has improved their game. And ultimately, that's what this is all about.
I mean, I will say the fines, going back to the fines question, as you were telling me that story, that happened to someone else. And it happened to Michael Jordan when he debuted Jordans in the mid-'80s when it came to the NBA. They were fining him for wearing these shoes that were out of step with league policy. So you're in really good company right now, and I think you'll be I think you'll be successful. But I want to talk to you. But you said something about that 100-hour work week you're doing, right? And you have a small team, and Sandy just talked about the innovation you guys are cultivating. Um, you're developing your leadership skills on the fly, and a lot of us do. As we've been in the industry, we start to think through, okay, this works, this doesn't work. I try to motivate my team this way, and it went over like a lead balloon. Or I spoke to this person this way, and it really, really encouraged them. Talk to, how are you doing those things and developing leadership skills, particularly as you drink from a fire hose? It just feels like, it sounds like, and looks like from an outsider that things are rocking and rolling, while at the same time that can bring its own stress. So talk to us about how you're navigating all the chaos in a positive way.
I'd say everything one step at a time. And I've made so many mistakes. Oh my God. It's crazy to think in 5 years the number of mistakes and learning points that I've been able to make. But I think in terms of running a startup is all I can speak about, because that's all I know. And you're managing, and on your team have folks of all different levels. I have people that are 20 years older than I am with far more experience, and I have people just out of college and a high school intern who wants experience. Like, we have people all over the map with different levels of experience and different communication styles. So I think the key, that what's worked at Moolah, what's worked for me, certainly wouldn't work for everyone. But I think it's just about finding sense of style and who you are and expressing that, because I'm very intense and I'm also very caring. So I think the two can be true. It's like we all care so much about this mission and what we're building. And so being honest and upfront with your team, I think, is most important. And that goes across all skill levels. Everyone appreciates honesty and straightforwardness. When you're running a startup, you really don't have time to be anything but that. But I would say it just takes making mistakes and understanding, hey, this is what works, this is what doesn't. And then also balancing that with, this is what feels natural to me. Because I think ultimately the more I've found is, like, you can't fake it. If it's not a fit and you have to do something differently outside of yourself, that's going to end up being very, very tiring. And you're an asset to the company as well. So that's what I would say, is just take a deep breath and try to express yourself as honestly and as true to you as you can. And the intentions are always good. And it's easy when you're building something that you believe is so impactful, because it's about a greater mission. It's not about what I, Natalie, want. It's, we need to deliver on what the company needs by the end of this week.
Yeah, Chris Wright from Jordan Brand was on with us just a couple weeks ago, and he's from Harlem. He said the exact same thing on honesty, just being honest and upfront with the team. So you're, again, I think that's critically important, particularly as you're, there's a lot of flying by the seat of your pants with a startup, right? There's a lot of test and react. There's a lot of trial and error, and the humility that you even just showed now that you've screwed up, and how many times I've screwed up. Like, there's a lot to showing that humility to your team and showing them that, you just keep at it, you keep trying, you pick yourself back up, you figure it out. You're passionate about what you're doing. So kudos to you on that for sure.
Yeah, I think that your authenticity is just very apparent, right? When I've met you and I've talked to you and I've seen you in social interactions, you're just really approachable. So I think that's your best asset, is being really positive and energetic and sharing your story, and also being a great listener to the people around you. And like you said, you've chosen some good mentors. When you're looking for a partner, and we talked a lot about partnerships, what are you looking for in partners for Moolah Kicks? Like, what are some of the big things that are, I really need this, these are really must-haves, and then some things that you're like, I don't need this right now, and I've made these mistakes and I really don't want this again?
It's changed every single step of the business, what you need. But I would say right now, it's so clear we need marketing infrastructure and awareness. So we're seeing things like a single article is boosting our sales 700%. An article. This is not a marketing campaign. Imagine what would happen if we had real meat to approach the market and tell people who we really are. Because we're getting that much pickup from organic press. And so I think we have a fantastic product. We have an authentic story and brand that is targeting Gen Z and Gen Alpha who cares about those two things. And we have a position in the market and a story that can't be replicated. And we need the platform and the marketing to go out and share that.
Right. So far it's been pretty organic, right? It's been the athletes, it's been some of your mentors, it's been people just in the industry sharing your story. It's things like this podcast that can help you, but you're looking for a little bit more structure, it sounds like, in that, and more intentional marketing efforts.
We need to, because as the market is heating up, what Matt touched on earlier of the WNBA exploding, the market is shifting. And you have to be careful, right? We're the first mover. We're the first ones to do this. It's not a secret. Often, the first mover, there's many times it's not the winner. Mm-hmm. And in order to be the winner, we need to keep our foot on the gas. And as this land grab of women's basketball is happening right now, we need to have the awareness and the marketing in order to reach our core audience.
Wow. Have you heard from some of the bigger brands who've quietly come to you and said, I love what you're doing, or can we buy you? Have you had these conversations that really, for someone who's out there and doing something unique, oftentimes the first isn't the winner, but the first does get bought out by the second or the third who didn't get to the party as quickly as you did?
Absolutely. We've gotten some great outreach coming off of this article, and even I was saying yesterday, just before we hopped on the podcast, we're at the New York Liberty game and we're sitting courtside, and the stud buds, for anyone who follows WNBA, our player Courtney Williams has also gone viral for something she's created, the stud buds. So we were there with the wigs on, getting a ton of attention. And what I would say to your question is, yes, we've definitely been getting a lot of inbound, and we're exploring all of our options. So hopefully I can drop my email here at the end of the podcast, and we'll keep doing it.
Of course. No, I mean, you mentioned the New York Times article, and the Wall Street Journal had an op-ed last week about Caitlin Clark and how she's being, mistreated from a hard foul perspective. And Caitlin Clark's a grown woman with a kick-ass game, so she'll be fine. But I guess to your point, when you have these major publications shining a light, the growth is phenomenal. And I think Americans love sport, and they love all sports. That's why we have leagues for just about everything these days. I was a professional pickleball league, for crying out loud. So the point being, it's like we love winners, and we love to see kind of these growth stories. And I think you check all those boxes. You serve a need. You're an entrepreneur. You're on a trajectory that's serving an industry or a league that's growing exponentially. And I will tell you that I watch men's basketball. I watch both NCAA religiously. I watch NBA religiously. I'm a Wizards fan. God bless me. And I watch women's basketball religiously. And from a technical standpoint, it's just far more technically enjoyable to watch. The passing, the shot selection, the defense. It's just a more technical. There's not all the isolation stuff that you have in the men's game. And so I really enjoy it. I really enjoy March Madness with the women's tournament. I'm an NC State grad, so we always have a team up, top 10 usually. So for me, there's just this thing happening, and the American people are responding accordingly, and you're serving that need. I have no idea if there's even a question in this. I'm just waxing poetically about women's basketball. But I guess my question is, like, what's next for you? Like, you're on this crest of this wave right now. And how are you kind of strategically planning a year or two out when you're running and chewing gum and bouncing a basketball and holding a baby all at the same time? You're just doing so many different things.
I mean, I think you just answered it, Matt, right? I mean, 2 years out, we have a loose plan. A year out, it's a little bit more solid. But the beauty of a startup is you need to be ready to answer today.
Yeah.
And that's what we can do different than every other brand. We almost can't. We're set up like a speedboat. We're not a cruise ship. So we thrive in being able to switch what we're doing next week. And that's a TikTok Gen Z culture that we can answer to, that we're hoping will help us be a leg up in the long run.
Yeah, I like that.
So I'd love to ask a fun question off the top. We call these like our hot fun questions at the end of our podcast, and I'm curious about if you have one person, it could be a celebrity, a politician, an athlete, whoever, that you could give one shoe in your collection to. What shoe would it be? Who would that person be, and why?
Well, what are they doing with it? What am I trying to get
Right,
out of it?
it could be a lifestyle. It could be an athlete wearing it on the court in the WNBA. It could be the president of the it could be anybody.
I think at this point we'd want to give it to, if we know they're going to wear it once, I don't know,
Yep.
then we'd go with the biggest person with the biggest celebrity with the biggest following wearing them.
Okay, because there's not been like
just for awareness.
Right. Like there's not one person that you're like, I would love to get my sneakers on this athlete or this celebrity or someone like really exciting in your world that you just dream of.
I'd say women's basketball is a family, right? Like we all know each other. So I don't know. I know a lot of the women in the W, and a lot of them would love to sign with us. We've had conversations with almost all of them, and we've gotten great feedback with a ton of outreach of women in the W asking us to sign them. It's just a matter of when. So I'd say at this point, who would we want to get a pair of basketball sneakers on? Like the biggest celebrity, like Zendaya or something, like the biggest celebrity we could, just to keep the awareness rolling. It probably wouldn't be an athlete like
right.
Yeah.
Right today.
Smart.
That's smart.
Just because we want more awareness.
Marketing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. I do have a question for you, a fun one. So if you could only have one pair of shoes that you would wear forever, and that's the only pair you'd ever have, what would they be and why?
I'm going with our marquee model, the NeoVolt Pro, of course.
Of course, you have to, right? You're a company,
It's an every player
woman.
shoe. What are you gonna do? I'm 5'4". I'm hoping to grow a couple more inches. He said I'm done. So this way, I'm a point guard now, but who knows? But yeah, I'd go with the NeoVolt Pro. It's just good for everything. I wear them all the time, but it's great on the court. I also go for runs in them too. So
wow,
I think that's our all around performer shoe.
That's the thing about basketball shoes that have evolved over the years. That when I was a kid and I grew up in the 80s and 90s, all basketball shoes were high tops. That's what people wore. They're all big, clunky leather. I mean, like if you look at the Air Jordan 1, those are leather, high top, hot shoes. There's so many low top shoes now in basketball. It's just kind of that barrier has been broken for whatever. I don't know if it was the KDs or something on the Nike side, but it just seems like, so now you can run in basketball shoes and play in basketball shoes. It's just a totally different dynamic and technology.
Very well built.
Yeah. Which is what you're doing every day, right?
Absolutely.
Well, tell us how people can reach you. I know you said you wanted to share some of your details and your contact information. Give us.
Sure. I don't usually on a podcast, but because it's the FDRA podcast, I feel like it's appropriate. So my email is newhite@moolahkicks.com if anyone wants to reach out. You can also reach our more general if you're looking for marketing stuff or anything else at hello@moolahkicks. And you can follow us on social at Moolah Kicks. Find us online or in 630 Dick's Sporting Goods stores.
That's awesome. Which was a member of ours, one of your early partners, which every time I'm in a Dick's, I go and look for your shoes, make sure that you're well represented. So
thank you. Make sure the assortment looks right, Matt?
Right. Making sure adjusted if it needs it. I'm your guy. If you need anything, just let me know, Natalie.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing your insights as a new and fresh leader in the industry. We know that you're drinking from a fire hose right now. We're grateful for your time and your willingness to kind of chop it up with me and Sandy. So thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you to everybody in the footwear industry that has made this possible. A couple of years ago, I knew absolutely nothing. And so if it weren't for the generosity of the people in the footwear industry who helped me along on this journey, we wouldn't be where we are today. So thank you.
You're welcome. And that's so true. Like you said, women's basketball, the WNBA is a family. So is the footwear industry. So you got two families that are coexisting together, and we're big fans now, and we think the sky's the limit for you. So congratulations on all your success.
Congrats.
All right, folks. It's been another exciting edition of the Shoe and Show podcast. This is our leadership series. This is the last episode in 2025, our leadership series. I'm a little bummed. I guess we can still talk about leadership with other people. But at least for this series, we've been so grateful for all the great leaders that have come on the series. Powered by Ortholite. Go to shoeleaders.com for this episode and all the other 7 episodes as we've talked to executives across the various aspects and locations of our industry. Go to shoeandshow.com as well for all of our episodes for everything. And until next time, Shoe and Show is